When there's a killer on the loose who can't be killed himself, who do you call? Well, Chuck Norris, of course. Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with another movie review video. This time I'll be talking about Silent Rage. Silent Rage is a 1982 slasher film starring the one and only Chuck Norris. That's right, it is a slasher film starring Chuck Norris. I know, it sounds crazy, but I have to tell you, this movie is an absolute blast. It's just what you would expect, I guess. You know, what happened with this movie is they were pretty much trying to capitalize on the Chuck Norris craze at the time and the slasher craze at the time. It was early 80s. You know, you had Halloween in the late 70s. You had the Friday the 13th movies coming on in, 1980, 1981 for sequels and such. So it was trying to capitalize on that. But again, also wanted to capitalize on, the Chuck Norris action movie, action hero craze also going on at the same time. The thing is, this movie gets it right. It finds a way to incorporate what we love about slasher films and what you love about those cheesy Chuck Norris fight scenes and action films of the time. It just gets it right. So the movie starts out pretty quickly with our killer named John Kirby, who's living with his family. We don't know why, and it doesn't really matter because it's a slasher film. He's starting to go a little crazy. He's covered in sweat. You can see he's not really stable. Gets a phone call from his doctor, played by Ron Silver. We hear a little bit of the conversation, but basically John's telling this doctor, he's going to lose it. He's going to go crazy. Within minutes, he has an axe, and, we have our first two victims in the movie. Of course, it's in a little town where the sheriff is none other than Chuck Norris. So he's the one called to the scene, of course, to, see the two mutilated bodies now that have just taken axes to the head. And, Chuck comes in, of course, does his thing, checks around the house. Of course, a fight scene breaks out between Chuck and our killer. Chuck gets the best of him, as he should. He is Chuck Norris. And before you know it, we have our killer in the back of the police car. But, of course, it can't end there because this is only about 5-10 minutes into the film. Killer, of course, breaks his handcuffs because, what killer doesn't have superhuman strength? Kicks his way out of the police car and, just like that, is pretty much blown away by the rest of the police force as they light him up with bullets from all angles. So, pretty much considered dead at this point, right? I think not. At this point, what should be the lifeless body of John Kirby is brought to the hospital in which his doctor works. Of course, it's an experimental hospital, so we know where this is going. Another doctor at the hospital uses an experimental serum to not only bring John back to life, but it also causes all of his wounds to heal almost immediately. So now we pretty much have a modernized Frankenstein's monster on our hands. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Chuck does his thing. He's going around the town, being the sheriff. He meets up with his old flame, a girlfriend from 6 years back. She's actually played by the actress who plays Big Pussy's wife in The Sopranos. So if you guys are Sopranos fans like me, you'll recognize her as Angie Pomponsero in that. She's a lot younger in this, and you get to see a lot of her, if you know what I mean. This is also the point where the movie strays a little bit from its slasher storyline, and we get to see more of the Chuck Norris action hero type stuff. Now, that's not a bad thing at all, because it definitely keeps you entertained the entire time. He runs into some bikers who are giving him a hard time, kicks them out of town, but of course, he finds them later on at a bar that they kind of taken over. They have the bartender held hostage and, typically breaking the law. They got the gratuitous nudity with the biker girls in the bar, all that good stuff. Of course, Chuck has to go in there, do his thing, tells his partner to call for backup, but of course, he doesn't need backup because he's Chuck Norris. During this part of the movie, we get to see Chuck kind of rekindle things with the old girlfriend. We get a few sex scenes in there, which are typical for a slasher film, so they're definitely expected. But we also get taken back to the hospital and see that the doctors are kind of in an argument of whether or not they've done the right thing by keeping John Kirby alive. His own doctor insists that, he was sort of a monster beforehand, so now that he has the serum, there's no telling what he could do. Before you know it, the movie's right back into slasher mode, and the body count is steadily rising. In fact, this movie has a higher body count than the original Halloween. And I mention Halloween because this movie definitely pays homage to the original. There are so many scenes that you're watching it and you're thinking, wow, this is basically straight out of Halloween. And it's not a bad thing by any means. It's definitely not a ripoff or anything like that. You can tell it's really just paying homage. In fact, I watched this movie with my wife and she was pointing out scenes that were similar. You know, there are movies she was like, wow, this is just like that scene in Halloween, or this is just like that scene in Halloween too. And she's right. I mean, even down to what the killer wears. You know, John Kirby wears this one-piece bluish gray jumpsuit. Now, it's from the hospital. You know, it's not a mechanic's outfit, but you get the idea. And speaking of body count, we get a nice variety of kill scenes. We get a couple of axes to the heads. We get some crushed skulls, a broken neck, strangulation. We get body crushed by bear hug. Yep, that's right. Needle to the neck, and a few other things thrown in there. It's really great stuff. It's a slasher movie. It's fun. It has Chuck Norris. It has gratuitous nudity. It has the gratuitous sex scenes. What more could you really want from it? As we head into the exciting climax of the film, we have Chuck Norris hot on the trail of John as he continues his killing spree. And of course, we have another fight between the two. What's also interesting is while this movie definitely pays homage to the original Halloween and Halloween 2, Halloween 4, which was released years after this movie, definitely pays homage to this movie's climax. Silent Rage has a great climax. It's exciting. You know, it's really not a letdown. You know, there's some slasher films that kind of just end and you're like, eh. This has a really good ending for a slasher film. You know, you get enough action in there, enough goes on. It's kind of not just abrupt. I just really enjoyed it. I mean, I can't say enough about this movie. I don't want to give away any more spoilers. I've said enough about the film. You know, you guys are either going to think it sounds great or it doesn't. But all I can say is that I highly recommend this film. I had so much fun watching it. I know I enjoyed watching it growing up, but it's been so long since I have, and I just got really excited about it all over again. It's one of those movies that I wish I had been watching for, you know, for years now. I wish I wish it was a movie that I revisited more because I really enjoyed it. This is the VHS copy which you have here. I actually watched it on DVD today as part of an 8-pack or something like that. As soon as I finished watching it, I actually went on Amazon and I ordered the Blu-ray. That's how much I really enjoyed this. I need it in my Blu-ray collection as well. But again, this is a nice VHS edition here. This is actually the original VHS copy. It has, you know, all sides here, all tabs, which is pretty cool. The video actually slides out the side, so some nostalgia for you if you guys have ever collected VHS in the past. Pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, guys, definitely check this out if you haven't. I've heard before people say this is Chuck Norris's best film. I can't argue with that. It's a slasher film. I mean, you know, us horror fans, we love slashers. I don't know too many horror fans who don't like the slasher genre, and this is definitely one worth checking out. So guys, as always, let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. If you have seen the film, let me know what you think about it, and if you haven't seen the film, feel free to leave a comment anyway. I always enjoy talking movies with you guys. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. I'm hoping to post another video, maybe with a Valentine's Day theme. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that done tomorrow as well and get that posted at least by tomorrow night. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Also got some cool stuff that came in the mail, so I'll be posting that in some upcoming videos as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I always appreciate it. See you later.